Hey there. So my first recording of the audio did not work when I was doing the walkthrough. So we're going to try to re-record it. So maybe a little bit different. So as you can see, this is the world that we're going into, and we'll hit play. And when we hit play, it's going to take us to the spawn point. I did have to code the spawn point, and I'll show you kind of what I did to do that. So here's the entrance of our fraction world, our fraction house. Um, and then this is me kind of walking you through what I did to put the coding in. I had to do some Googling and research this, but I ran the command here, set world spawn, and then you hit enter. And then you have to back up and then you hit set spawn point, I think. It's going to type it here in just a second. Here we go. So game rule spawn radius, and then we put the radius as 0, so that way everybody spawns on this one square and they don't spawn with the default radius. Then I think here in just a second, the video, we're going to walk inside so I can show you kind of what students would see as soon as they walk in. So here's kind of the outside of the building. So we're going to walk on in now. Open up the door, and you see there's this little NPC character named Mrs. Frack. She's like, "Hello, my name is Miss Frack. This is my home. Walk around my home, find all the ways I've made for my home fractional. Start with the floor. What fraction of my floor is pink?" So students would then close out of this, and they would have an accompanying worksheet or something like that, where they could then go and solve some of these problems and count the tiles, or find what fraction on the floor is pink in a different way, as long as there was some form of an explanation for where they got their fraction from. So then moving into, this is my tank space. So it says what fraction on the wall are light cubes, so they could count the light cubes. And you can look in here and see my little glow squid and my other squid. There's lots of other sea creatures in here as well. There's some dolphins and turtles and fish, which I think are really fun. So this was probably my favorite thing to create in here. And the store does open, so you can open up the door and go right in. So then we're going to go over here and walk into the bedroom. It says what fraction of the wall is a bookshelf, so they can look at how many cubes are a bookshelf versus the actual wall itself. You can make a fraction out of the dark tiles and the regular tiles. You could do fractions of the floor. You could look at the pictures and do what fraction of the room is pictures versus not. There's a lot of different ways you can make fractions in here, including the torches, what fraction of the torches are on the dark wall versus the light wall. So there's just a lot of different fractions the kids could make in here. So as they leave, it actually prompts them to make more fractions out of objects instead of the room as like an extension. And you see me here struggling to get through this doorway. I think if I were to add something, I would widen this doorway because it's kind of difficult to get in and out of. And so I have to do some finagling here to get out this door. So we're going to try to back up and then walk straight through. There we go. So this is our little trap door down here. So we will walk down. There we go. And my goal down here was to create some more fractions or pictures or activities for students to do instead of this little secret room down here. Just something for them to find and explore. There's lots of things you could put down here, like you could put flowers down here or animals even, or you could just make some pictures with different fractions. So we're going to go back upstairs now. This little ladder lets you go back up the stairs. Then we're going to come around here to the stairwell, and it says what fraction of the stairs are white, so students can make that fraction. And we're going to go up the stairs, and I didn't really get to finish a lot of this up here. This is Mr. Frack. I didn't put any text here for him yet, but that's something I would change for the future. There are lots of windows up here to provide some natural lighting. And then I did get started on this little task over here instead of the corner. So it says, what fractions can you come up with for this area? So there's a nice little fraction bar right there. So you could literally make the fraction 2/4, or you could do fractions of blue to orange. There's a lot of different ways that you could make a fraction of this section. So we're actually going to come out now because there is an upstairs area. And I just noticed that little block there that I have to fix. But so now we're going down the stairs and we're going to go outside. We're going to come around the side of the house first so we can go upstairs. So I created a little veranda. And so we're going to go all the way up this massive house. There's a little gate to get in there. Oh, it's my nice little cherry blossom tree. And again, there's not really anything up here right now, but my plan was to create more fractions up here. You could even do extension activities up here as well, where students were comparing fractions, creating equivalent fractions, anything like that. So that was one thing that I did not get around to doing. Did make a house probably a little bigger than I might have needed to, but I want to make sure that I had enough space and that things were not cramped, especially when you have multiple characters that are going to be walking around in here. I thought it was best to ensure that there was plenty of space for all of my students to move and operate. Here's another wall that you could do fractions with. You could say that this is 3 out of 7 or 4 out of 7, depending on which way that you look at it. You could also make it into a larger fraction as well and talk about some simplifying of fractions. So there's a variety of ways that you can use this wall that's right here as well. And then we're walking over to my favorite part that I talked about earlier. This is another area I would like to expand more on. This is probably the most fun I had was this little underground water area. Oh, there's some of my salmon. So if you come into this room, this is a room that's been dug out and it's massive and you can see I have lights in here, some seaweed, and this is kind of my tank room. So fish will swim up periodically and maybe some of the turtles sometimes. Um, so and then if you keep swimming, these are little turtle eggs. So it actually has a prompt here and it asks what fraction of the grass is sea turtle eggs. And I actually found out that the grass eventually goes away. So all the sea turtle eggs were on grass, most of them were, but now they're not. And then this is one of the many problems I ran into is these fish are just stuck down here. They will eventually get out, but I found myself just digging more and more. And no matter how much I dug, it seemed like I always made a new spot that they were getting stuck in. So here I am actually making some more room for them, trying to help them dig out. And all these fish spawned, and that was kind of an accident, but part of the fun of making the game. So, and I think that they're pretty cute. So, anyway, moving on. You could make more fractions down here, of course, especially with the fish and the type of fish. I just think it'd be a fun underground world to explore. Yep. And so now we're going to go back up towards the front. So ideally, the ultimate goal would be after they finish with everything to then have them go to a new spawn point, or you could even do it on the other side of the house here where you see this next to the top. Um, where students could then go in and make their own fractions, or they would each be given a 10 by 10 square, where they would make a fraction of their choice using either colors or animals or flowers or whatever it is that they want it to do. So I read that there's a way in Minecraft for you to essentially have students take their answers and then spawn them to a new location. And so that's probably what I would do just to make sure that students didn't accidentally destroy the house that I'd made. So yeah, that is pretty much it.